Hello and welcome to Vision Academy. My name is Hanmant Ladwa, and in this video we are going to write a C program to demonstrate array of structure. Here array of structure means whenever we define a structure definition we can create object. So single object can be created. Instead of that, if I want to process more than one object at a time, then I can use array of structures. Let us start defining the structure using the keyword called struct. Here I'm going to write the name of the structure as employee, curly open brace, that indicates this is the beginning of body of the structure definition. Now I'm going to declare the variables int emp id, that is employee id. Next I'll declare one more variable of type character, that is name of an employee, and inside the square bracket I'm going to write 20 because it is array of characters. Next I'm going to write char designation. Designation means the position of an employee in an organization. In a square bracket I'm going to write 15 as size. Now curly closing brace indicates this is the termination point of a structure definition. Now after defining the structure we have to create the object. Here I have created a single object. If you want to process more than one object, then I have to use array of structure. So how do we write array? Array we are going to write in square bracket, we are going to write size. For example, if I want to process 1000 employees information, then in a square bracket you can write 1000 and then put semicolon. So we can access each of the employee information using index number starting from 0 to 999. Now we will write void main function, curly open brace, and here we are going to declare the variables of type integer. I'll take two variables I and n, then I'll write clr scr function which is used to clear the screen. Now we will ask the user how many employees using printf function. In a double quotation mark I'm going to write how many employees. So end the double quotation mark and then put semicolon. So from the user through keyboard we are going to seek some input using scanf function. Here in a double quotation mark I'm going to write %d, end the double quotation mark, and we are going to use this variable n using ampersand of n. Now we have to scan through each of these employees. So each of these employees can be scanned through using looping structure. Here let me take for. I'll write I is equal to 0, I is less than n, and I plus plus. Curly open brace, and here we are going to take input from the user through keyboard. So we'll ask the user to enter the details of an employee such as employee ID, name and designation, which we have declared over here. So in a printf statement I'll write in a double quotation mark enter the employee ID, name and designation of employee. I'll write here %d /n, end the double quotation mark, put comma. I don't have space to write here. I'm going to continue down to the next line. I'll write I plus 1 and then closing brace, put semicolon. So here I plus 1 means 0 plus 1. For the first time it gives me 1. So it prints enter the employee ID, name and designation of employee 1. Okay. Yes. Next we will go for receiving input for employee ID, name and designation using scanf function. Here I'm going to write %d format specifier for integer type of data, end the double quotation mark, put comma. We'll write ampersand e of I we are going to write because here we have taken array, that is array of structures. So here we have got array of objects, contiguous objects. Each object will receive employee ID, name and designation. So here e of I, for the first time it is 0. So dot is a member access operator which is used to access the members of the structure definition. So here emp id is of type integer, Hence we are using %d format specifier. Next, here I'm going to write the name of the member, emp id, closing brace, and put semicolon. So similarly, I'm going to receive the next structure member, that is name. Name is of char type, hence we have to write %s format specifier, because %s represent it is a string type of data. Then I'm going to write e of I dot member name is name, closing brace, and put semicolon. So next we are going to take the designation, that is also of type char, so hence we are going to use format specifier %s, and here I'll write e of I dot designation. So next we'll close this particular looping structure definition. Then we'll go for printing the entered information in a tabular format. So printf, in a double quotation mark I'll write /n, I'll write employee information. So end the double quotation mark, and here we'll write put semicolon, and we will organize this one in the form of table. Hence I'm going to write printf statement in a double quotation mark. I will continuously type dashes and end the double quotation mark, put semicolon. Next we'll use for loop. So again I'm going to take the same looping structure over here. For I is equal to 0, I is less than n, and I plus plus. Next curly open brace, and whatever that we have received like emp id, name, and designation, we are going to print in the form of table. So let us print. I'll write printf, in a double quotation mark I'll write %d /t. So here /t represent it is a horizontal tab space. So comma e of I dot emp id, closing brace, and put semicolon. Similarly I'm going to print the next member of the structure, that is %s /t tab space comma e of I dot name. Next printf, in a double quotation mark %s /t, end the double quotation mark, e of I dot designation. Next, here we are going to close this looping structure for. Then we'll go for printing one more line, printf, in a double quotation mark I'll put hyphens /n, end the double quotation mark, and put semicolon. Now I'm going to write get ch function, and then curly closing brace for main function. So once we compile and run this program, so it will ask the user, here you can see it will ask the user how many employees. For example, here I'm going to write output. So it will ask the user how many employees. For example, I'm going to enter 2 here. Then so n value is what? 2. Next I is equal to 0. 0 is less than n is what? 2. So 0 is less than 2. Yes, condition is true. Once the condition is true, then all these 4 statements will get executed. Correct? Yes. So printf, here you can see enter the employee ID. So it is going to print enter the employee ID, name, and designation of employee. %d is associated with I plus 1. So I plus 1 for the first time, I is 0, 0 plus 1 is 1. So it is going to print employee 1. Okay, next. So scanf, we are going to receive first employee ID. For example, I'm going to enter 1. Next, it is asking name. Now I'm going to write the name called Swaroop. Next, I'm going to enter designation. For example, I'm going to enter manager. Okay. So after inserting the 3 values, again control transfers to for loop by incrementing the value of I by 1. So now I is 1. 1 is less than n value is what? 2. So 1 is less than 2. Yes, condition is true. Once again, this particular statement will be printed. So again, it will ask the user to enter the employee ID, name and designation of employee. Here percentage D associated with I plus 1. Now I value is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So here it is going to print employee 2. Now I'm going to enter the employee ID. Here it is 2. And next name of the employee as I'm going to enter. For example, over here I'm going to write Raj. Okay. Yes. Next, the designation I'm going to enter as assistant. Yes, so soon after entering all of these, here you can see it is printing employee information. Here you can see it is printing employee information. So how it is going to print? So it is going to first print employee information at the top, employee information, and before this also, if you want, you can just write here printf and lines printf. Here I'm going to write /n, or you can put hyphens and / and the double quotation mark. Here we will get output something like this. So after employee information, it is going to print once again these dotted dots. Here you can see. So it is in the form of table, right? Yes. So whatever we have inserted, so same will be printed repeatedly for I is equal to 0 and I is equal to 1. So it is going to print employee ID. So here, so let me write employee ID. Over here you can write it is going to print EMP ID, and EMP, after EMP ID, just because of this employee ID, so here you can see it is going to print the employee ID and then name, then designation. Yes, so here it is going to print one, name was Swaroop, correct? So next it is going to print designation as manager, and the second employee whose EMP ID is 2 and name of the second employee is Raj and designation was assistant. And after this, here you can see we have got print again dots. Here you can see it is going to print these hyphens. So here you can clearly see the output. So it is in the form of table. So let us execute this program. For that, I will take you to my laptop screen.
Here I have already written this program in Turbo C++ integrated development environment. Let us compile this program by pressing Alt F9. Here it is showing success, means there is no syntax error. Now let us execute this program by pressing Ctrl F9. Now you can see here it is asking how many employees. For example, I'm going to enter 2, and now it is asking enter the employee ID, name and designation of employee number 1. Now let us write employee ID as 1 and name of the employee as Swaroop, and then designation I'll write manager, and then I'm going to press enter. Here it is once again asking enter the employee ID, name and designation of employee 2. Now I'm going to enter employee ID as 2 and name of the employee as Raj, and then designation as assistant, and press enter. Here you can see it is showing employee information in the form of table, employee ID, name and designation column. Along with that, it is showing all the results, all the employee ID, names and designation of the employees. I hope you understood this program. If so, write down in the comment box as understood. Thank you.